At no time will you see Jill attempting to force or coerce. Rather, she's going to engage Gracie and ask her to take the syringe and medication willingly. So here's the list of equipment you're going to need. You'll need a calm, quiet intent. We're going to give step-by-step instruction, and Jill's going to show all the patience in the world with this mare. The process Jill's going to use is setting boundaries for the mare for her movement. She's also going to direct her movement. That is, she's going to tell Gracie exactly what to do, where to put her head, and when Gracie starts getting anxious, she's going to tell her exactly where she can move. And of paramount importance, Jill must reward at the appropriate time when Gracie gives her the right try. It's important to know that the horse has a cognitive ability and an intellect approximately equivalent to that of a 2-year-old human child. That means they can't see and work their way toward a big picture or a strategy. So we have to show them step for step exactly what behavior is considered appropriate and reward for each one of those individual steps. This means we have to change our thought process in regards to putting that medication down our horse. So step by step, what's required for this horse to learn and participate in the process? First, we need her to stand still quietly. Second, we need her to drop her head and reach for the syringe. Third, she must know to open her mouth and accept the syringe. And then lastly, she must know to take the medication and swallow it. Now, we can't do a lot about the swallowing part. Hopefully she'll do that on her own. But you'll find that she won't be dripping a lot of medication or spitting it out either if she has willingly decided that she's going to take the medication. Before we move on, let's review a little bit about how a horse learns. The only time, and I repeat that, the only time that a horse knows and understands that they're doing the right thing and exhibiting the right behavior is upon the release of pressure. That pressure release is the only moment that they learn that they're correct. A horse must be rewarded for each and every correct motion that they make. Otherwise, they don't know that they're right. One of our human traits is, aha, I have the horse right where I want her now, so I'll just get my job done. But in the meantime, we end up just simply getting the job done, and although it doesn't seem like force, the horse is not participating, and they're not learning from it. We often inadvertently teach our horses the wrong behaviors, and then we're upset about it. For example, if Gracie is trying to get Jill to move her hand off her face, and Jill removes her hand in response to that, then Jill has taught Gracie that the right thing to do was to try to remove her hand. This is what I mean by inadvertently teaching them the wrong behaviors. So Jill cannot ever remove her hand unless Gracie is doing the exact right thing. Now let's go back to the beginning and watch step for step exactly what the process is between Jill and Gracie. The first step in the process is boundary setting. Jill's boundary is her hand on the side of Gracie's face in order to get the mare to stand still and stand quietly. Jill's simply resting her hand there. When the mare finds a moment of quiet, Jill releases. That's her reward. Now she'll have to repeat it. The mare decided that was time to go away. Jill takes a moment and rewards the mare for standing still quietly. Now Jill's going to repeat the same process again. This time you notice Gracie is quieter. So Jill proceeds onward with just resting her hands on Gracie's muzzle. This is the next step toward getting her to open her mouth quietly. As soon as the mare accepts her hand there, then Jill removes it as reward. Jill continues to get the mare just to accept her finger in the side of her mouth, and then rewards by removing her hand. Again, she repeats, places her hand there until Gracie accepts it, inserts a finger in the corner of her mouth to get her to open her mouth, and then releases, and that's reward. Now this also inspires licking and chewing, which helps the horse to relax. Jill repeats the same exercise, resting her hands, maintaining the boundaries, and having Gracie look for that moment of quiet. She rewards each time Gracie gets quiet. Now she's going to reintroduce the syringe, and Gracie's the one that's reaching down to touch it. And she decides, oh, maybe that's not a good idea. I don't think I'm going to like it. I want to point out here, Jill is not putting counter pressure to try to hold the mare in position. If she does that, it's going to turn into a fight. She's just continuing to rest her hand there. As soon as Gracie comes to a moment of quiet, there it is, then Jill reintroduces the syringe just to the side of her face. And when she got quiet, she removed the syringe immediately. That's the reward. Don't forget that reward. She must accept that syringe even next to her muzzle. And there, she's already quieter, and she changes her mind again. She's thinking about taking a couple back steps to try to get out of this. But once again, Jill reintroduces the syringe, resting it on her face, and just waiting for Gracie to come to terms. Here's that patience part of the equipment you needed to come to. Again, resting the syringe, Gracie finds a moment of quiet, and Jill just has to wait for that to happen. She doesn't proceed forward until the mare is quiet. Now she changes the position of the syringe, removes it from Gracie's muzzle, and then she repeats, keeps going back until she gets acceptance of the syringe in that particular spot. There's the quiet. So now Jill can proceed. Gracie is willingly deciding to stop and drop her head. She's relaxing, and she's overcoming her fear. She's even starting to nibble on the syringe just a little bit. And then she changes her mind, says, oh no, not a good idea. I'm not ready yet. So you notice Jill is just keeping her boundary there. She's not forcing the mare in any way. She's just confining her movement. And now she's going to actually direct her movement. The mare started backing away and getting a little bit more anxious. So Jill tells her something else to do. Just simply that one circle was sufficient. Now Gracie's back to standing still. Here she put her head right down onto the syringe of her own volition. And you see how much quieter she is here at this point. Jill reintroduces the syringe. Oh, Gracie almost reached for it there. She knows what the intent is. So we're going to do another circle because she's getting a little bit strong about her anxieties. So Jill tells her what to do. Back to resting her own muzzle on the syringe. It's really important that Jill doesn't try to jam it down her throat now. Instead, Jill inserts her finger to get the mare to open her mouth. Look, the mare is starting to reach for the syringe.